everyone, it's Rusa. Hope everyone is doing well. Today I'm going to make a video weighing in on the whole DECA only cycle. Again, Enhanced Athlete has really brought to light the old school theory of DECA only and how it can mitigate a lot of the sides associated with DECA from just doing DECA only. Now again, I don't really have that much knowledge about this topic, and I'm just going to let Trevor and Ben weigh in what they think and just give you their side of the story. Again, not saying this is right, this is just their opinion. And again, the more people who say their opinion, the more the truth will come out eventually anyways. So what are your thoughts about DECA only?
Well, I mean, I myself, if I were to do that, I don't think that I would do just a DECA only cycle. I'd have just 100 milligrams of testosterone a week, 250 milligram shots. I mean, I don't think you'd have much of a libido at that point. There's always an exception, you know what I mean? It's really hard to say. A lot of the older guys...
People in the forums are saying their libido is completely fine on DECA only, though. What would you say would be the cause of that? Unless they're getting bunked DECA.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not DECA. I know a lot of the older guys back in the day, they was really fond of high anabolics. They do say DECA Primobolan or DECA Anavar, DECA D-ball, which that's understandable at that point. But to do it by itself,
so why do they have the D-ball on there?
Well, you're getting estrogenic conversion. It's going to work like a testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you did DECA D-ball, that would be a great.
Yeah.
You'd be fine. Yeah, that would be a really good cycle. Back in the old days, that's what they used to do.
I mean, you might even be able to get away with the Primobolan because you'd have a little bit of a DHT effect.
Not
much. I don't know.
If you ran the DECA
it's
high
possible.
enough with Primobolan,
there'd be enough estrogenic conversion,
and you'd have your DHT from the Primo. So that would probably work too.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't recommend it. Can't say it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
There's always an exception to the rule, but I just can't see how they'd be feeling great on a cycle of DECA only.
Well, my opinion is very similar. I think that
go into like why you would do DECA only. Like, what do you think people are after?
I have no idea,
only?
to be honest with you. I wouldn't do it DECA only. I think it's just not a good idea.
I mean, if they're just looking at it from a pure anabolic effect, that's fine, but there's no androgenic base at that point either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, you will get a little dihydroandrolone, but it's not the same as dihydrotestosterone. I think that I really don't understand why they would do it, other than just to see. You know, it may have a little bit more of a muscle building effect, more anabolic. But that's the only thing I can think of, really.
There's honestly no reason not to include a little bit of test.
Yeah. I mean, the old school way, they wouldn't use much test, but they wouldn't run high doses of DECA either. Like Ben said, they might have Primobolan DECA or D-ball DECA, which provides you testosterone. So another thing with DECA, it's hard on the kidneys. I think actually they mentioned that. I think Coach Trevor mentioned it in one of the videos that they did. I watched the videos with Tony. I thought it was really...
What did you think of the videos or the experiment? Besides that it was bunk at the end.
That was disappointing because I thought it was really interesting. I really wanted to see if it would actually, give them... They'd still maintain their sex drive and feel good and build muscle with it. I thought that would be pretty cool because I've done that with Equipoise by itself. I've run Primobolan by itself with no test, and I liked it. And I think now guys are too heavily reliant on testosterone, and you really don't need a lot of tests. I think just a replacement dose is usually enough. Let the other anabolics work because test is not the best.
And test is not selective, and test
it's
goes so many
kind of dirty. It's
other
dirty
places. Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of testosterone. You got a lot more hormones to control from a lot of excess conversion.
Yeah, DHT is very. It can be very problematic for certain people. The estradiol, it's just a dirtier compound. There's more potent anabolics out there that you could use. I think the old school method I think it's better for a classic looking physique. If you want to have that mass monster, you may need really high doses of testosterone. But myself, I never run really high doses of test. 600 is probably the most you'll ever, see me run. That's plenty. I think that's plenty of tests. Some guys will run like 1,200 or 2,000. Some of these guys are crazy now. But Yeah, so in my opinion, if I was to do the DECA only, I would run definitely NPP, not DECA, because of the
So
shorter.
that's N-phenylpropionate.
Yeah, nandrolone phenylpropionate. It's a shorter acting. It's about the same milligrams per milliliter of actual nandrolone.
See, I was reading that they say Deca-Dur is technically stronger because there's more nitrogen retention. Again, someone counter-argued me with that because I was talking about that to someone.
If you keep your frequency of your shots up,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and no, they're actually the same milligrams per 100 milligrams. It's 60 milligrams of actual compound if you take out the ester. And it should actually be more potent, nandrolone phenylpropionate, because it's going to give you a quicker spike.
probably what's happening is they're getting the overlap
Yeah, that's probably
of the decanoate ester, so it gets built up slightly higher over time.
over time, yeah. But it's also going to be more slow,
Right.
where the nandrolone phenylpropionate is going to spike up quick.
And that Deca-Dur is in forever.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't use that. But I think, going back to Tony's video, I think he couldn't have had much DECA because his test was off the charts. His total test was over 1,500, which maxed out the test. His prolactin was lower than a normal person, which isn't typical for DECA. So, and I think most of the guys that are probably running this as well are probably having similar effects because they probably don't have good DECA. It's hard to find DECA, believe it or not. A lot of times you're getting low dose testosterone in a replacement of DECA. You couldn't really, how could you tell the difference really? Most guys aren't going to know. I probably wouldn't know. You know what I mean?
Unless you was having side effects,
Yeah.
which you probably think you'd have some side effects, just DECA by itself.
You would think. But that doesn't mean, the one guy they had on, who was that? Do you remember?
I forget his name.
I mean, some of the stuff he said made sense, and I'm not saying it's not true.
he
But,
works with a lot of the athletes in Egypt, I believe.
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not completely sure.
But I just think,
I'm gonna try and have him on and have him explain the whole theory behind it.
be interesting. I think equipoise would be much, much better by itself because
Yeah.
it's a testosterone-based steroid. It doesn't aromatize at a higher rate. It aromatizes less than testosterone, and it's still going to provide dihydroboldenone, which is 1-testosterone, and I think it would have a very, very good effect if you ran a good dose of equipoise, maybe 600 to 1,000 milligrams. That would probably be all right without test.
Hey, you never know. Exception's always a rule.
Yeah.
Alright, that's just, again, a different opinion on the DECA only cycle. Again, they are definitely not a fan of just doing DECA only. But again, if you are doing a DECA only experiment, please comment what your thoughts are on it and if you roid tested your DECA and know it's actually DECA.
Yeah.
Alright guys, that's just some food for thought. Again, I'll try and have the DECA guy on or ask Tony for more information about the whole theory.
And if anybody needs roid tests, we carry that as well if you want to test your DECA. And like Russo said, please comment because we're definitely open to hear what you have experienced.
Alright guys, I will see you in my next video.
You made me weak, you tore me all apart. The taste so sweet, you say you like my heart, but hate the beat.